Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Hurricane Mills for the final evening. Yes, tomorrow we're on the move, but more about that in a moment. How did your challenges go today? For your mindset, did you play? Did you have a chance to play? Zephy and I played a lot today. Despite the fact I had a busy day with brains again, Zephy and I played a lot today. We had a lot of fun. We played chase, we stretched together. That was funny. She was doing moves and I was copying her. It was hilarious. I was down on the floor. She's down on the floor there stretching. I'm stretching right alongside her. It was kind of cute and funny. Did you put a process in place to celebrate your vendors, your peers, and your clients' birthdays? And did you have fun playing games involving balls? So what games did you play? Did you do a soccer thing, a one-on-one basketball, just kicking a soccer ball around, having fun with that, throwing tennis balls for dogs? What fun did you have with different balls today? Okay, let's see what else we did. Oh yeah, it's Brain Fried Day 2. Yes. I thought today would be a little easier than yesterday with all the training and stuff I did yesterday, but no, I started the day off with training, had a mastermind session, then an accountability call, and in between my mastermind session and my accountability call, I was working on a project, trying to get rid of some more squares up there, and also, I'll tell you about the other bit in a minute. We started the day off with Zephy in the park. Again, had her off the leash. Remember, she's been walking on the leash for 4 weeks with no off the leash time except for inside the RV. So at the most, she's been running up and down the RV. By the time you take out the bed, she jumps up on the bed. So less than 32 feet that she's been running each day, and you get her in a park and all of a sudden she's got all this space. So it's taken her, yesterday she didn't run around too much, but today she really let fly. It was good to see her going into turbocharge and just running the length, and she would do it with the tennis ball in her mouth. It was hilarious. Where, like, I would squeak the tennis ball to get her attention and throw it. She would go racing after it, pick it up, squeak it, and then I'd call her and she'd come zooming back towards me, straight past me. And as she passed, she would squeak the ball. So going, Watch this. I'll see if I can get her to do it again. She's up there. That head swing around. Hi, sweetie girl. What's out the window? Did you see that? Oh my gosh, that was so funny. But she would race past me and squeak the ball, and then turn and go ripping back down the park again and squeak the ball again as she'd go past. Every time she would pass me, she would do like 4 or 5 laps, and then she'll come back and drop the ball somewhere in the vicinity of where I was and stand over it and wait for me to come pick it up. So we're still learning fetch. We're still working on that. But we were over at the park playing for like half an hour or so, and she was having a blast. She had so much fun. But right now I think she's watching dogs being walked. Yep, she's whining, so we're watching the dogs being walked outside. I tried to get down there last night. I saw somebody walking with a Aussie Shepherd. I thought, oh, she loves running with those. So we headed on out, but by the time we got down there was no sign of the Aussie Shepherd anywhere. I thought they were heading to the park, but obviously they were heading somewhere else. But they weren't down at the park. They didn't come near the park, didn't see them, nothing. So we didn't get to play with the Aussie Shepherd, which would have been fun because that would have really got her running and exhausted. But she had a blast this morning. So after her playtime this morning, we did some training. We did the mastermind thing. We got some work done on a project, which is kind of turning out really cool, I think. Yeah, there's different elements to it, so we'll see what the finish, and we're sort of partway through the project, and I keep changing my mind on things. So we'll see how the finished project ends up, but it should be, I'm hoping it'll be done by next week. I know hope is not a strategy, but we'll see. And I had my accountability call today. Love my weekly accountability calls. And my accountability coach was talking about, had put me onto a series of books, which I have yet to read. I have them electronically, but I haven't had a chance to read them yet. But it's based on genealogy and stuff, so I'm kind of I'd like to get into that, but I have my 5 book. I have five to six books on a go at any one time, so I kind of at my limit right now, and can't take on another book series while I'm reading finishing off other series and stuff. So as soon as I get that done, we can do it. But tomorrow we are definitely moving. We are on the road tomorrow. We are booked in Memphis. Yes, we're heading to Memphis. So there was a campground that is attached to Graceland, but they were booked out. I thought that'd be kind of cool. I'm not a big Elvis Presley fan. I mean, I like some of his music and that, and he had a really good singing voice and that, but I'm not one of those crazy Elvis fans. You know, if I go to Graceland, I go to Graceland. If I don't, I don't, and it's not going to bother me. But I thought it would be really cool to stay at the campground that's right there, and they actually have a gate that goes through to Graceland, and where the museums are, and they got the house that he lived in. So there's different. I was looking up the different tours and stuff that you could do. There's one that's all self-guided, where you go through his automobile museum, you see his jets, and you see the museum side of it, but it doesn't include the house. And then there's another ticket that includes all of that, plus the tour of the house. And then there's different upgrades that you can get going up in price, along with all the benefits and stuff that come with it. So I'm going to be staying somewhere in that area, but not at Graceland. So I'll be like a Lyft or an Uber. I think they might actually have a shuttle that goes from the campground up to Graceland, so I'll find out more. But I did get their last 50 amp pull through space, I think it was. Yes. So got called in. So yeah, so into Memphis tomorrow, and I'm only there till Monday, so I'm only there the 4 nights. So Thursday through Monday, I'll leave on Monday, and Monday I will go into Arkansas and trying to figure out where I'm going to stay there. I was trying to plan ahead. It's like, oh, where in Arkansas should I go? And there's some areas there's not a lot of campgrounds around. Like, you hit the little button in the program that says hide all the ones that are closed because of COVID, and nothing changes, and you think, we'll show all the ones with COVID, and nothing changes, and you're like, oh. But I found this really cool campground, but when I went to have a look, it was all closed, and I said, well, next availability date, and they said we are booked solid all the way through July, or we have nothing available until like August or something like that. And I don't, so like, yeah, no, that's going to be way too late. So current plan, Memphis, there for 4 nights, into Arkansas, probably stay somewhere around Little Rock, then up to, where am I going after that one? Then I'm going to Springdale and seeing some friends there. And then from there, probably up through Kansas City to the 70, and then across the 70 to Denver, and drop down into Colorado Springs. So all my mates in Colorado Springs, sometime in the next 2 weeks, I should be there. So I can't wait. Because this is, that's going to put us into July. So I'm only a month late. Because under the original plan that we came up with in September, October last year, I was supposed to be there in Colorado Springs for the month of June. And there's all this other stuff that was going to be happening at that time. And because of COVID, plans got changed, routes got changed, because I wasn't planning on coming this way across the 40. Yeah, to go visit my friends in Arkansas, I was going to come across the 70 and drop down to visit them and then go back up. But, yeah, so just go with the flow. You don't let it worry you, just go with the flow. You know, plans change, it's okay. Obviously, you know, obstacles are detours in the right direction. So obviously I wasn't supposed to go up the East Coast this time on this trip. So we will save it for next year. So I will get back to the East Coast with Sparkles and with Zephy. Got lots of people on there, so they keep telling me to come visit. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I'm kind of like looking forward to going into Memphis. Last time I was in Memphis was 10 years. That's what I totally forgot this week. Oh my gosh. 10 years ago yesterday, we arrived in LA after a 5-day trip across the US within the Yukon. Gus was in the back. He basically had the entire back section, and then we had a U-Haul trailer on the back. My car got shipped out, and they said it would take about a week to get there. It arrived in 3 days. Yes, the animal got shipped out there and arrived in 3 days, and we took Grover the Beast, which was what I call Brad's Yukon, and we drove across the 40. It took us 5 days. We left on the 12th of June, 2010. We spent that night in Knoxville and got to visit with a friend there who I hadn't seen in a while, and got to meet her new husband. which means they've just passed their 10-year anniversary as well, because they got married 10 years in April. And then where did we go after that? We went from Knoxville to Fort Smith, Arkansas, stayed there the night, because we were staying on the night and everything else. Then we went Arkansas to, where did we go after that one? I think it might have been New Mexico. We were driving like 8 to 9 hours. Our longest drive was the first one, because we went from Virginia to Knoxville and ended up being 12 hours. It took us longer because we were towing the trailer. But then after that, we were driving anywhere from 7 to 9 hours a day, depending on how far. And we would wake up and we'd literally wake up in the morning, open up. We had this thick book. It was a directory of all the hotels in the US and campgrounds in the US and Canada that would allow you to bring your dog, pets. So cats, dogs, snakes, mice, whatever. But each hotel would have limited as to what actual pets you could bring to your hotel and have in your room, and the requirements, and if you needed to pay for your pet to be in the room, or if it was a free stay, and all this sort of stuff. So we would pull up the maps, we had the AAA maps, so we would unfold them on the table, and we would open up the pet directory and was like, okay, how far do we need to drive? Right. Well, that would be from here to here. Okay, let's look in that area and see what's around that area. And we'll pinpoint an area like we did Fort Smith, Arkansas, and we knew we were going to be somewhere around that area. So we cracked open the pet book, found all the hotels that would take pets, called them up. Some of them actually had it specified on dog sizes, so like nothing over 30 pounds. Well, Gus was 114. So yeah, there were some places we couldn't even sneak him in as a 25-pound dog. We could have got away with 80. We could have got away with 80 because he never looked like he was 114 pounds. We could have got away with 80 or maybe 70 at a pinch, but we definitely could not have gone away with 25. And so we would look on the maps, and then we would call the hotel, see if they had a vacancy, book in for that night, and then drive there. And there'll be anywhere from 7 to 9 hour driving time. We would switch places driving. It's the only time I've ever driven a car with a trailer, but it was in forward. I never had to back up. So I've never reversed in a vehicle with a trailer on the back before. So maybe I will pick up that skill one day. Maybe. We shall see. It's a maybe. But we had a great trip across. We didn't get to see or do anything because it was June. It was stinking hot. And of course we had Gus in the car with us, so we couldn't leave him in the car anywhere. I do remember the day we arrived in California. We were up in the desert. So it was 10 years ago yesterday that we arrived in LA, and we had been in Winslow, Arizona the night before at the La Posada Hotel, which was right there on the train tracks. There was a train station as well in Winslow, Arizona, and the hotel was the last Fred Harvey house on the line coming towards the west. And there's this whole story about Fred Harvey and the Harvey girls. Really interesting story. He decided to bring civilization out to the west, and so he brought all these young single women out. They wore these long black dresses with these long white aprons over top, and all the tables in all their restaurants were tablecloths, silverware, china, glasses, all of that sort of stuff, and bringing the civilized world to the west and the La Posada was the last Harvey house on the track. So very interesting history to this whole hotel and everything else, and every room is named after some well-known Western person. So we were in the Roy Rogers room, and you could walk around the hotel, and the hotel was also a museum as well, so you could go for a wander. They had artifacts everywhere. Some had plaques on, some didn't. Every room had a different celebrity name on there from the West. Like I said, we were in the Roy Rogers room. They had a thing by your room number that said what the name of the room was, and it had a little mini bio underneath, a picture of the person with a little mini bio under. It was a cool place to go, and they actually had a pet walk area complete with poop bags and trash cans and everything else out there in a couple of different areas. So Gus loved it there. He had a blast. We had a blast walking around with him. We could even take him into the restaurant. He could lay out at the table, at our feet at the table. Very pet friendly hotel. And we were enjoying a lazy morning because we knew we didn't have that far to go that day. And Brad happened to be listening to something or surfing on the internet. All of a sudden he says, "We have to go now." And I'm like, "What?" And he's sort of like, "There's windstorms that are going to be hitting across the 40. I want to get through there before the windstorms hit." And I was like, okay, 15 minutes, we were both showered, dressed, out the door. Gus had been because I just got back from walking Gus, that's right. And so we were up, packed everything else in the car, and in 15 minutes we were gone. And that was including all the checkout process, everything. We were 15 minutes, boom, we were out there. We got on the freeway there to the 40, heading into California and stuff, and going across the 40. And we got to the 40, to the 15, and then I don't know where we went from there, to get to my mother-in-law's place. Brad knew the route, I didn't. But when we got into California, we're out in the middle of the desert somewhere in California. We were on the 40 at that point, and we got onto the 15. I think we were still on the 40 at that point, getting near to the 15, and we had to get gas. So we stopped at this gas station in the middle of I don't know where, and they had a Dairy Queen attached to it. And so we filled the car up with gas. Brad parked the car off to the side with the trailer on the back and went in to get us ice creams while I walked Gus and watered him. And then Brad came out with these 2 chocolate dipped soft cone ice creams, soft serve ice creams in 103 degree heat. It was 103 degrees. I remember that because I remember seeing it on the mirror. And so we get into the car, he puts it back on again because the air conditioning's going, it's hot inside the car, and my phone rings. And I looked down and I see the first 6 digits and knew that it was coming from Marriott head office. And at the time I was working in their training department, and we had done they were doing a complete reshuffle in the training department, and there was a lot of jobs, and my job basically was disappearing. And so I applied for 5 other jobs, and they called me up to say I didn't get any of them. And I was ecstatic. I was sort of like, I go, none of them? And she's like, no. And she goes, no, I'm sorry. And I'm like, that's awesome. And this poor girl on the other end of the phone, deathly silence. And then she goes, it is? I said, yes. I said, that's fantastic. Thank you. What happens now? And so she told me what was going to happen next. I was like, okay. And and then I hung up from that. And Brad's sort of like, well, was that Marriott recruit? I went, yeah. And he goes, well, what job did you get? Thinking I got a job because I was all excited. And I said, none of them? And he's like, what do you mean you got none of them? I said, I got none of them. And I was like bouncing in the seat with excitement. And Brad was sort of like, what do you mean you got none of them? And he's off on a tirade. He's we're back driving down the freeway again, eating an ice cream on a tirade, hand on the steering wheel. It was the funniest sight. He had ice cream in his left hand, right hand on the steering wheel as he's having this tirade as we're driving down the freeway. He was so upset I didn't get a job. And I was ecstatic because, we've been working our travel business at that point for 18 months. And this was now meant I could go full-time in the travel, but we could now go full-time in the travel business. And so I was super excited about that, and he was not so much. But we got into town that day. It was his youngest son's birthday. And that was the evening, after we got into town and stuff, that was the evening we went out, and we got to my mother-in-law's place. She wanted to go out for dinner. And so we got back in the car and was like, thinking, I've got to get back in the car again. But we got back in the car anyway, and we went down to the diner that she liked to go to at the time, which is now closed. It was a great diner. Went down there and had dinner and that was where I walked in the door, and the person who was seating us asked us how our day was, and I went, super fantastic and sparkling, thank you. How was yours? That was the first time that had rolled out, and that's when it all started. And I've been using that reply ever since. Let's see. Hang on. What you doing? There you go. Hang on, I'm going to go that side. There you go. This is how we play with our treats and our food. And stuffing that's fallen out of other toys. What's the matter? You want to go for a walk? You want to go to the park and play? You going to play with your food? No? She's so funny. She actually tossed it in the air and it bounced off the oven, off the grill, off the venting thingy underneath the oven. So that was what happened 10 years ago yesterday. It's been, I just totally forgot to mention that yesterday. I didn't have it written. I totally forgot to write it in my book and everything, my journal and everything. So we finished our across the US on the I-40 in 5 days. So we left on the 12th, arrived on the 16th. Yeah, it was a great trip. I was just one thing we did stop and see along the way because we could. It was outside and we could take Gus with us. Was Cadillac Ranch, and Cadillac Ranch, if you haven't been there, has all the cars buried into the ground nose first, with the rest of the cars sticking out, and the angle of the cars, the way that they're leaning, the angle of their lean is the same angle as the pyramids in Egypt, which was kind of cool to figure that out. And so there was all these spray cans around, so you could go spray paint, leave your mark behind, and Gus made sure that he left his on a couple of the cars as well, because he couldn't operate the spray can, so he found another way to do that. But it was kind of cool to go see those. That was the only thing we actually stopped and saw along the way, and the only thing we could with the dog. So it was a great trip. We had a blast. But now I'm in the RV. We've got the air conditioning. I can put the generator on if I need to, if we're going places and I can't take Zephy inside, and she's going nuts with her chew stick right now. Thank you. She's giving it to me to look after, because she knows I don't throw these. Oh, you want it back? There you go. It's safe. There you go. It's safe. Do you want it back? There you go. Yeah, she wants it back. She wants me to throw it for her, and she knows I won't throw her chew sticks, but she tries anyway. So that was 10 years ago yesterday. So we've had a busy day today, and we are now going to go and take Zephy down to the dog park so she can go a little crazy again. The place we are going to has a big dog park, is my understanding, and bigger than this one, so it could be one of the larger ones that we've been to. So we've had a few places with dog parks that have been nice and large, and Zephy's had a blast running around those. And this one does have a dog park, so I'm looking for the next stop. When we go on our next stop, I'm probably thinking that's going to be a couple of nights, just to have a day off in between. I haven't fully decided yet, because it will depend where we end up, because I've decided that if we're going to stay any longer than 2 nights, I need a dog park for Zephy. For one day we can handle just walking her on the leash, but if I'm any more than one day, I do a full day at a place, I want to have a dog park where she can go run some energy off. So that's going to be my criteria from now on. And one I'm looking at in Little Rock is a city park. Well, you didn't give it to me, so I don't know what you're whining for. Is in a city park, so and it looks quite like a nice campground. It's got some great reviews too. It's one that's run by the city, so that would be interesting to go and stay at that one. But they don't have a dog park, but they are pet friendly. So, but there's all the park there that you can go wandering around, so we can still get her exercise, be it on a leash and not on spurts of energy with a run. But after her half-hour running around, she still had a lot of energy, and because one of the guys here at the campground, one of the workers here, stopped and wanted to see if he could say hello to Zephy, so she went across there and stood there while he petted her and talked to her and all that, and then she was trying to jump up on him, and he goes, man, she's got a lot of energy. And I said, yeah, you wouldn't think she just spent half an hour running around the dog park, would you? But little one is, oh, hello, you coming up to say hi and to say hello? Hey, hey. Yeah, you have something to say? You're going to talk to everybody? Wait. Yeah, what else do you have to say? You going to say anything else, or are you done? Okay, so that's it from us. I got to go take a dog for a walk. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day, and we will catch you guys tomorrow morning, either before we leave or when we stop along the way. I haven't decided yet. Gonna try and get out of here again before 8 o'clock. We managed to do it the other day, so I'm gonna try again today. And but anyway, so we've got to go take a walk, have an early get everything. We don't have too much to do. I've got dishes to do. I haven't done the dishes today yet. I usually do the dishes as I go, but for some reason today it was just sort of like, yeah, we put them on the counter and we'll do them all at the end of the day. So we'll get those done tonight, get them all put away, get the trash pulled together so we can leave that out in the morning, and let her have another run around the dog park before we get in the back in Sparkles and leave. But yeah, hopefully I'm going to set the alarm. I'm going to set the alarm tonight. Woke up the other day before the alarm went off, and we were we left the campground at 7:57. So we're out of the campground by 8 o'clock. So we're going to try for before 8 again. We don't have to do any grocery shopping along the way. We've got a almost full tank. Yeah, almost full tank. I think it's down around the 3/4 mark. So we're driving 3.5 hours tomorrow, I think it is. Excuse me, 3.5 to 4 hours. So basically, and I've already got my exit list done, and it's sitting up on its spot there. And so we've already done that and figured out where we're going to have our stops. And so we'll either do one more, we'll do the morning one from here, or we will do it once we stop somewhere along the road. Haven't decided. Depends how organized we get in the morning. But anyway, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys tomorrow morning. Oh, and don't forget, tomorrow we start the next photo caption contest. You got some more to say, have you? You got more to say? You gonna say bye? No? You gonna say anything? You got kisses? Nope. You gonna wink at everybody, are you? You gonna wink? No? Have a super fantastic sparkling evening. He konera. Say bye.